is an incident that happened 5 years ago when I was 9 years old. In my home country, my family used to love snacking on chips all the time. Luckily, we had a small shop in front of our house. It had all the snacks that I loved, and they were cheap, so it was my favorite place. The shop used to be owned by an older lady in her 60s. Let's call her Mrs. Mayer. Mrs. Mayer had one daughter and a very small house. I loved her so much because she gave me a free lollipop after every purchase I made. The last time I saw her was when we visited our home country during our summer vacations before the pandemic hit. For 2 to 3 years, I haven't visited my home country because of the pandemic. But last year, my cousins came to visit us all the way from my home country. I'd asked my cousin multiple times about Mrs. Mayer, but she wouldn't tell me anything. I annoyed her so much that at last she said, "Okay, if you're so curious about her, let me tell you what happened while you were away." My cousin then went on to tell me this story. In the last month that she was normal, Mrs. Mayer was dealing with a brain injury, and as a result, she became paralyzed and had to shut down the business. But after around a year, on a normal day, they heard a knock on the door, so of course my aunt went to open the door. When she opened the door, she was in shock, and her voice stuttered, "Mrs. Mayer?" It was Mrs. Mayer, wearing a traditional Indian dress and holding a very rusty old brown bag. My aunt's voice stuttered again. How can I help you?" My aunt also offered to hold her bag for her multiple times, but she refused every time and got aggressive to the point that my aunt got scared. The last time my aunt offered to hold her bag for her, Mrs. Mayer looked up and stared at my aunt with glowing red eyes and aggressively stomped her foot and said, "No." My aunt got really startled this time. "Tell Mr. Philip I want to take him to the graveyard," said Mrs. Mayer in a husky, low-pitched voice. Now, Mr. Philip was my grandfather, and at the time he was eating his food. "I'm busy right now, Mrs. Mayer," said my grandfather. But she repeatedly said it, sounding more and more frustrated. "Tell Mr. Philip I want to take him to the graveyard. Tell Mr. Philip I want to take him to the graveyard. Tell Mr. Philip I want to take him to the graveyard." My aunt was so frightened that she shut the door hard, but Mrs. Mayer put her hand in the way to stop the door and didn't even get hurt. She slowly pushed the door back open, looked my aunt dead in the eye, and violently screamed, "Tell Mr. Philip I want to take him to the graveyard." My aunt was terrified at this point, but her eyes suddenly looked down at the big, rusty old brown bag. There was blood dripping out of it. Now panicked, my aunt was trembling and rushed to shut the door and managed to lock it. Mrs. Mayer was banging on the window outside for a few minutes, but after she finally stopped, a disturbing wide grin grew across her face. Her eyes still glowing red, she started muttering something and finally left. After that day, Mrs. Mayer was never seen again. Even now, I still wonder what would have happened if my grandfather had gone with her to the graveyard.